After spending the day with the Mercedes AMG GT, I've been pretty blown away. I came in with high expectations and the car has pretty much exceeded those expectations in every single way. It's incredibly fun to drive. It sounds absolutely menacing. There's not much to hate about it, but you know what? No car is perfect, so here are 5 things I hate about the AMG GT. When the SLS came out, it was iconic because of the doors. Now that was remembering the original 300 SL Gullwing that had gullwing doors out of necessity. Now why was that? Well, it was made out of a space frame chassis, and in order to have enough structural rigidity for the 300 SL, they had to have the door sill higher up than normal. That would make having normal doors very awkward. So an incredible, innovative idea came along to hinge the doors at the roof, and that's where the Gullwing was born. So when the SLS came out and remembered that with the Gullwing doors, it felt extremely special. Same with the McLaren SLR. Of course, not Gullwing doors, but butterfly doors. Having special opening doors makes a car feel more exotic. Now, the AMG GT isn't exactly a successor to the SLS. It's not. But it is the flagship right now for Mercedes in terms of what it's capable of performance-wise, like the AMG GTR, for instance. But it doesn't have that special little extra bit that makes people fall head over heels in love with the car before they drive it. Now, if you drive one of these, I guarantee you're going to be blown away. But just from looking at it, seeing pictures of an SLS AMG or SLR with the doors up makes you want the vehicle. And I really wish they put iconic doors of some shape or form on the AMG GT. It would make it a lot better. So what I hate about it at first, normal doors. Next actually has to do with how you put the car in drive. The gear selector over here in the center console is very awkwardly located. If you have the seat all the way back and you're 6'6", then you might have a little bit better chance at reaching it. But then again, if you're 6'6", your arms are going to be longer. You have to bend your wrists in the most awkward way to reach down to shift it into drive. And then when you put it into reverse, it takes way too much effort in the pedal to actually activate reverse and go backwards. That makes it scary if you're making U-turns or you have to make a 3-point turn. It takes a lot more time than you're typically used to in a normal car. So for that, really, they could have fixed the way you shift into gear here, at least put it into a different location. Next is the steering feel. Now this is kind of a love-hate relationship. For Mercedes, the steering feel is brilliant. This is such a step forward. It seems like they've never been able to get the steering quite right. It's always too loose. There's too much of a dead spot. It's not communicative enough. It feels too luxurious. Why can't they get it right? On the AMG GT, it is so much better. You throw this into curves, you have confidence, you've got really quick turn in, the car feels light on its feet. However, it's a little bit too light. I wish there was some extra weight in the steering so that you had a bit more confidence and a little bit more communication with the road. They say this is a 911 killer, but if you drive a 911, you've got much more steering feel, and in sport mode, the steering is much heavier. This reminds me of a car that's in comfort mode, but when you click sport mode, it tightens up the steering and fixes it. Well, in this vehicle, I'm in Sport Plus right now, and it is far too loose. Next up, I don't think they made it powerful enough. It feels like they were limiting the AMG GT in order to make sure that there was room for higher upgraded versions, instead of starting at a higher benchmark. A 4-liter twin turbocharged V8 with 456 horsepower in base form, it just doesn't seem all that impressive to me, especially coming from the SLS AMG, which didn't have turbochargers and made 563 horsepower, and the SLS Black Series significantly more than that. This specific vehicle has a Gintani tune on it, making 625 horsepower and 620 pound-feet of torque. So for $3,000, you can bump the car well over 100 wheel horsepower more. So why they couldn't have done that from the factory? Now, I'm not saying come out with 620 horsepower, but at least maybe 550 to be more competitive out of the get-go with something like a Jaguar F-Type R. It is able to put the power down extremely well, 0 to 60 in under 3 seconds. The transmission shifts fast. It doesn't feel like it loses a lot of grip for a rear-wheel drive car, but that bit of extra power that'd be so easily done with upping the boost I'd like that. Lastly is the view you have outside of the vehicle. In something like a McLaren 570S, which definitely isn't a competitor to this car, but it's a perfect example of ideal seating position and ideal visibility. You've got a pretty large windshield, you feel like you're sitting on top of the car, and the hood slopes away quickly so that you can see almost directly in front of you to easily place the car on the road. The SLS AMG was the exact opposite of that. The hood was far too long. You're looking out through slits like you're in a Camaro, and it just felt difficult to figure out where the car was on the road. Now, this is a large improvement from the SLS, but I still think that the hood is a little bit too long or too tall. You need a little bit more visibility out of the front. I tried to remedy that by lifting the seat up a little bit so I can see more over the hood. If I was taller, I'm 5'11", I'm not exactly short, potentially you could see over the hood more. Now, I tried that. The issue is now you can't see the speed you're going or the tachometer anymore. Even if you adjust the telescoping and tilting steering wheel all the way up, you still can't see the top half of the RPM range. They need to work a little bit more on the seating position, better visibility out of the front, and perhaps a larger windshield, and this would be one of the absolute best cars of all time. So there you have it. It's hard to nitpick on this car because it is so brilliant, but there are 5 of the things I hate about the AMG GT. I hope you enjoyed this video. Like always, please browse the channel and subscribe. I look forward to seeing you next video.